As we move a little bit further back, we're checking in with Eric Darnell again, seeing the effects of the damage on that left front. In fact, it looks worse from this angle than it did earlier.
Yeah, it doesn't look good. They're going to have to do something with that as soon as they can, as soon as they can get in the pits. You see a bump right there. That gets some damage, but not what we saw. He's had some more damage to the front of the fender. You see right here, that's where he gets that damage.
Still there.
It's going to take a little work on that first pit stop.
Let's get more on Eric Darnell, Dave Burns.
And he reports to his crew that this car will not turn in the center of the corner and when he puts his foot on the gas. And then at the late part of the corner, it wants to spin out on him. Now, crew chief Mike Kelly radioed back to him and said, when you bring down pit road, we'll fix that left front fender, but just hang on to it for right now. It's amazing that that can change the car so much on this track. DJ's already called it a short track. Let's go to Tim Brewer in the Craftsman Tech Garage and find out how these cars can be so aero sensitive, Tim.
Thanks, Dave. The brakes here are real important, but we can see the tape right here partially taped up, but you have to conduct the airflow to cool the brakes, same way on the radiator. But like Andy said, the front fenders, they're so important that if you damage one right here, we build these fenders as large as we can just to make downforce. But when it comes to getting that fender off the left side, you might see a ball back go up under that fender and actually roll the fender back in place. That'll give him the downforce he needs to turn the car in the center of the corner.
All right, thanks, Tim, for the update. As you take a look again at Eric Darnell's situation, 3 more cars to the garage. The 49 of Mark Green, Kevin LePage, and the 52 and the 73 of Derek Cope as we continue this battle for second on the race course right now, as Kevin Harvick has got it that close to Carl Edwards.
He's been reeling him in lap after lap, and Kevin's got a fast car, and he's won here before. He knows how to get it done.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be too surprised to see him up there contending for this win.
Yeah, these are 2 guys that could stop that streak of 22 in a row as far as not having a 2-time winner.
They want to be the first to put their names in the books, both of them, that's for sure. As Carl's got the advantage right now, but they've still got a little traffic ahead of them.
Yeah, you can see Kevin really working that bottom of the racetrack like Rusty was talking about and going completely down on that apron to get that grip.
Yeah, you can do that, but you have to be careful there in trying to do that you don't break the back end of the car loose when you try to jump back to the throttle.
You see these cars, there's so much cornering force on it. It's basically a flat racetrack that it takes a lot to keep these cars from rolling. They got huge sway bars in them, big right rear springs, all these things to try to keep the car flat.
That's John West Townley in the 09 that both Carl Edwards and Kevin Harvick get the round safely. There's the leaderboard after 28 of 200 laps, and there's Joey Logano. He's got his hands full with traffic. Stay with us.
Still under green here at New Hampshire. Joey Logano still your leader. Let's check out our ESPN Motorsports calendar. The NASCAR Now Monday Roundtable wraps up the weekend's racing, 5 Eastern time on ESPN2. And then for the Nationwide Series, it's on to Daytona Beach next Friday night, 7:30 Eastern. The Subway Jalapeno 250, that is on ESPN. Plus, next weekend, ABC, the IndyCar Series at Watkins Glen. That's 1 Eastern time next Sunday. Plenty of motorsports action coming up on the ESPN and ABC networks for you. 33 laps are completed here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway today. Joey Logano has led all but 3 of them. Carl Edwards took the lead for 3 laps, but it is the young Connecticut native driving that 20 car who has paced the rest of the distance. We go up to speed now with Nationwide Insurance and get a report on some of the front runners, starting with Shannon.
Alan, Joey Logano in that 20 car. As soon as the green flag dropped today, he told his crew chief, Dave Rogers, the car is loose. Rogers said, relax, it will come to you. Well, it has, but now it's gone to the tight side. Now, this is Joey Logano's first NASCAR start here at this track, and in practice, he tried to find different lines on the racetrack where he could pass. Right now, as he's leading, looks like the only people he has to pass are the lap cars. Dave?
Shannon, last week, 2007 Nationwide champion Carl Edwards passed Kyle Busch with 45 laps to go for their first win of the season. I asked crew chief Dan Stillman how to feel to pass that dominant 18 car. He said, you know what? It felt great, but we've passed him before this year. We've been pretty darn good. And they expect to pass Kyle a lot as they go towards another championship. Now, to get his teammate Logano back, they're going to have to make that car just to turn a little bit better in the center of the corner.
Kevin Harvick is in the 33 car, and of course the 20, the 18, and the 60, they've drawn the majority of the headlines this season, but Ernie Cope, the crew chief, says the 33 is as good as those 3, especially when Kevin Harvick is piloting this car. Harvick is one of 6 that's driven the 33. He's in 3rd place now, says it's a little tight in the middle. Dave?
Scott Speed runs behind him. He's a Sprint Cup driver who shares this ride with developing drivers at Michael Waltrip Racing. For the last 3 races, young Trevor Bayne has been in the car, but today Speed pilots it. He is just a little bit loose going into the corner. That's a spin out kind of mode, but from the middle off, it's mostly tight. They'll need to crank on that race car during the first round of pit stops. Jamie?
And behind him is Brian Vickers. He started 8th, has moved up 3 positions. He's making his 100th Nationwide Series start. Big day for him. He's tight in traffic, but says the car's pretty good. Doesn't want to make any adjustments on this first stop. Behind him, Cliff Boyer in the 29. He said his car was loose in practice, start a race. Then we got cloud cover, and just like that, the car is tight. He called it a pig. Look for some changes on this first start coming up. Vince?
Well, the 88 car to Brad Keselowski still has his eye on the championship, even though he's just a little over 200 points out of the mix. But he says all teams are point racing at this point. But what we're going to have to do is win races, because the 2 drivers ahead of us, Kyle Busch and Carl Edwards, they're going to be winning. If we have a hope for the championship, we've got to win too. The 88, a little tight in the center. Shannon?
Vince, Jason Leffler in the 38 car started this race 12. He is on a streak right now, 10 straight top 10 finishes. He was really looking forward to this race. This is his type of racetrack. He said that this is their go-to car, and he told me this morning that this is the best he's felt here in a long time. Right now the car is just a little bit tight, but he says it's still turning well through the turns. Vince?
Well, and behind Jason Leffler is the 18 of Kyle Busch. He started 9th, and he's currently running 9th, but Kyle says he's just being patient.
Started out okay. I just didn't want to do anything underneath those guys and wreck myself, so I just kind of waited.
Kyle Busch has led the most laps in 8 straight races. I got to believe after this first pit stop, it won't be long, and we'll see him back toward the front today. Shannon?
Vince, Mike Bliss holding steady at 10th. That's where he started the race, and that's where he's running right now. I spoke to him before the race started. He said he did not have a good feel for this car and told me, in fact, he thought they may have brought the wrong car to the racetrack this weekend. It was just tight in practice, and it is still tight right now. Mike Bliss looking for a good run. He's been busted on pit road speeding the last 2 weeks. Alan?
All right, Pit Patrol, thank you. So there are updates on the top 10 drivers so far. Again, caution-free to this point, with 42 laps being worked now. And if we stay under green, they can go about 70 laps before they'll have to hit pit road under the green. Joey Logano is your race leader in his native New England.
Lose your mind.